President Pranab Mukherjee on a ventilator support after his brain surgery undergoes successfully. He tested COVID-19 positive earlier yesterday. Prime Minister Modi reviews the flood situation with the affected states, holds a meeting. The monsoon mayhem continues in many states, and Bihar still continues to be severely affected. Defence Minister Rajnath Singh kicks off the Atmanirbhar Bharat Week. For the Defence Ministry says thrust now on making defence equipment at home. 7,000 MSMEs will be encouraged. COVID-19 recoveries in the country crosses 15 lakh milestone in another record. Nearly 55,000 people recovered during the last 24 hours. The death rate comes down to 2%. Lebanon's Hezbollah-backed government resigns after massive public outrage over devastating 4th of August Beirut explosion that killed at least 163 and injured thousands. Hello and good morning. You're watching Doordarshan News with me, Nancy Kohli. Our top story: former President Pranab Mukherjee underwent a successful brain surgery at the Army's Research and Referral Hospital yesterday. The surgery was performed for the removal of a clot formed in the brain. His condition remains critical and he has been kept on ventilator. A team of doctors is keeping a close watch on his condition. And earlier on, 84-year-old Pranab Mukherjee had informed in a tweet that on a visit to the hospital for a separate procedure, he tested positive for COVID-19. He was hospitalized thereafter. Mukherjee, who was the president from 2012 to 2017, requested people who came in contact with him in the last week to self-isolate and get themselves tested for COVID-19. President Ramnath Kovind spoke to his daughter Sharmishta and inquired about his health. The president wished him a speedy recovery and good health. Raksha Mantri Rajnath Singh visited the hospital and inquired about the former president's health. He was there at the hospital for around 20 minutes. And let's now go across to our correspondent Nitendra Singh, who is joining us with more inputs on the former president's condition. Nitendra, what are you learning as far as Pranab Mukherjee's health condition is concerned this morning?
देखिए उनकी हालत अभी स्थिर बनी हुई है और सीरियस कंडीशन है और उनको वेंटिलेटर पर रखा गया है। कल उनकी ब्रेन में क्लॉटिंग थी। क्लॉटिंग को डॉक्टर ने सर्जरी की क्लॉटिंग को हटाने के लिए, और सर्जरी सक्सेसफुल रही है जैसा कि अस्पताल सूत्रों ने बताया है। लेकिन उसके बाद उनकी हालत गंभीर हुई तो उनको वेंटिलेटर पर रखा गया है और डॉक्टरों की एक टीम उनकी सेहत पर निगरानी रखी हुई है और अस्पताल सूत्रों का कहना था कि ये 24 से 48 घंटे काफ़ी इम्पोर्टेंट है, तो डॉक्टर उनके हालत पर नज़र रखे हुए हैं। इससे पहले जब पूर्व राष्ट्रपति प्रणब मुखर्जी ने एक ट्वीट करके भी कहा था कि वो किसी बीमारी के इलाज के लिए वहाँ गए थे, लेकिन इस बीच में उनको कोविड के भी टेस्ट कराना पड़ा, तो कोविड टेस्ट में कोविड पॉजिटिव पाए गए। तो उनके संपर्क में पिछले एक हफ्ते में जितने लोग आए हैं उनसे उन्होंने रिक्वेस्ट किया था कि वो अपने को सेल्फ क्वारंटाइन करें और अपने पे नजर रखें। अगर कोई सिम्टम दिखे तो वो टेस्ट भी करा सकते हैं। तो कोविड पॉजिटिव भी है, तो डॉक्टरों के सामने एक दोहरी चुनौती है कि एक तरफ तो जो ब्रेन में क्लॉटिंग थी उसकी सर्जरी हुई, दूसरी जो कोविड पॉजिटिव है तो उसकी भी ट्रीटमेंट हो रही है। तो 84 साल की उम्र है पूर्व राष्ट्रपति प्रणब मुखर्जी का, तो निश्चित तौर पे डॉक्टर के लिए एक चैलेंज है और अगले 24 से 48 घंटे काफी इंपॉर्टेंट है।
All right, Nitendra, we wish him speedy recovery and good health. Pranab Mukherjee is stable but in said to be a serious condition. He is under observation after the brain surgery that was conducted on him, and the next 24 to 48 hours are said to be critical for the former President of India. May he get well soon. Moving on now, Prime Minister Narendra Modi yesterday held meeting with the chief ministers of the 6 states to review the flood situation. He emphasized on better coordination between all the central and the state agencies to have a permanent system for the forecasting of the floods and the extensive use of innovative technologies for improving forecast and the warning system. Here's a report.
The government is keeping a close watch on severe flooding in different parts of the country. Prime Minister Narendra Modi held a meeting through video conference with chief ministers of 6 states, Assam, Bihar, Uttar Pradesh, Maharashtra, Karnataka and Kerala, to review their preparedness to deal with southwest monsoon and current flood situation in the country. Prime Minister emphasized on better coordination between all central and state agencies to have a permanent system for forecasting of floods and extensive use of innovative technologies for improving forecast and warning system. He mentioned that investment should be increased in localized early warning system so that people in a particular area can be provided with timely warning in case of any threatening situation. Prime Minister also emphasized that in view of COVID-19 situation, while undertaking rescue efforts, states must ensure that people follow all health precautions such as wearing of face mask, hand sanitization and maintaining adequate physical distance. PM Modi also said that states should ensure that all development and infrastructure projects must be built with resilience to withstand local disasters and to help in reducing consequential losses. Chief ministers complimented the efforts of central agencies including NDRF teams in timely deployment and rescue efforts. They also gave some suggestions for short-term and long-term measures for mitigating the effects of floods. Prime Minister directed the officers of concerned ministries and organizations to take note of the suggestions given by the states and assured that the centre will continue to provide its support to the states and union territories in order to strengthen their capabilities for dealing with various disasters. DD India.
And in Bihar, normal life continues to remain paralyzed in the flood-affected areas of the state. Over 74.4 lakh people across 16 districts are reeling under the impact of flood. In all, 24 people have lost their lives in the flood-related incidents. The flood situation continues to remain grim in the districts of Darbhanga, Muzaffarpur, Samastipur, Sitamarhi, Gopalganj, East Champaran and Saran districts. The life in affected areas has been crippled as flood-hit people are forced to take shelter either on the embankments, national highways or other higher places. 33 teams of the NDRF and the SDRF are carrying out relief and rescue operations in the affected areas. About 5.8 lakh people have been evacuated so far. 12,000 affected people have taken shelter in the relief camps. Gandak, Budi Gandak, Bagmati and Kosi rivers are flowing above the danger mark at many places, though the water level is falling. The Met Department has forecast mild to moderate rains in the catchment areas of various rivers in North Bihar as well as Nepal in the next 24 hours. In the massive landslide that hit Rajmala in Idukki district of Kerala on Friday, 49 lives have been lost so far as 6 more bodies were recovered from the site yesterday. The joint search operation is on a war footing and being undertaken by the NDRF, the police and the fire force officials, armed forces and the forest officials. The Chief Minister has said that as some more bodies are suspected to have been swept away into the river, the search will cover a distance of about 16 kilometers downstream to retrieve the bodies. He also said the search will be continued till the last missing person is found. And heavy rain is wreaking havoc in the state of Kerala. A flood-like situation is prevailing in many low-lying regions of the state, mainly in Alappuzha, Kottayam and Pathanamthitta districts. The high-ranged areas are in high alert as multiple landslides are being reported. People are being shifted from the flood and landslide-prone regions to relief camps. The water level in all the major rivers is rising, causing an alarming situation on the river side areas. The Chief Minister Pinarayi Vijayan said that the state, which has been receiving 427 millimeters of rain on an average in August, received 476 millimeters during the last 10 days. Although the intensity of the rain has come down, the Met Department has warned of isolated heavy rainfall in several places for some days. He urged the public, especially those living in hilly regions, to exercise abundant caution. Raksha Mantri Rajnath Singh has asserted the ban on import of 101 types of military equipment is a big step towards making India self-reliant in defence production, and more items will soon be added to the list. Kicking off the Atmanirbhar Bharat Week for the Defence Ministry, Rajnath Singh said the week will encourage indigenous production of defence-related equipment. He also said the vision of self-reliant India during these tough times is not only important for economic progress and kick-starting activity, but also increases confidence. He stressed that there is a thrust now on making defence equipment at home, and this will give a boost to confidence on reliance, as others cannot make a nation self-confident. The Raksha Mantri also said the centre is taking steps to provide viable opportunities to the local industries. He said if the defence equipment are made in India, valuable foreign exchange can be saved that will in turn help to play a catalyst in the growth trajectory of the MSME sector.
इस तरह के आयोजनों की इसमें बहुत बड़ी भूमिका होगी, ऐसा मेरा विश्वास होगा। इसी दिशा में बढ़ने के लिए हम आत्मनिर्भर सप्ताह मना रहे हैं, जिसमें हम कुछ ऐसे कदम उठाएंगे जो हमें इस दिशा में बढ़ने के लिए हम आत्मनिर्भरता सप्ताह मना रहे हैं, जिससे हम कुछ ऐसे कदम उठाएंगे जो हम इंडिजनाइजेशन, डिफेंस इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर में इन्वेस्टमेंट तथा डिफेंस मैन्युफैक्चरिंग कैपेबिलिटी में एक्सपेंशन की ओर ले जाएगा।
Key government meeting on COVID-19 vaccine procurement will take place tomorrow. According to the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare, the Expert Committee on Vaccine Administration under the chairmanship of Niti Aayog member Dr. V.K. Paul will meet tomorrow. The committee will consider logistics and ethical aspects and procurement and administration of the COVID-19 vaccine. The committee will engage with all the stakeholders, including state governments and the vaccine manufacturers. And let's now take a look at the situation in the worst COVID-19 affected states in the country. Maharashtra continues to top the list with 9,181 new cases recorded yesterday, while 6,711 patients were discharged and 293 COVID-19 deaths were also reported in the last 24 hours. The number of active cases so far stands at 1,47,735. In Tamil Nadu, 5,914 persons have tested positive for COVID-19 yesterday. Chennai continues to show progress, recording below 1,000 cases for the fourth day in a row, recording 976 cases. While 6,037 patients were discharged and 114 COVID-19 deaths were reported in the past 24 hours. In Karnataka, 4,267 new cases were recorded yesterday. The number of active cases so far stands at 79,908, while 5,218 patients were discharged and 114 COVID-19 deaths were also reported in the past 24 hours. And in the national capital, Delhi, 707 persons have tested positive for COVID-19 yesterday. The number of active cases so far stands at 10,346, while 1,070 patients have been discharged and 20 COVID-19 deaths have been reported in the past 24 hours. And moving on now, 10th of August is celebrated as the World Biofuel Day. On this occasion, the CSIR IIP Dehradun has unveiled a plan to generate biodiesel through a unique process. In line with the government's call to convert waste to wealth, the institute has worked to convert the used cooking oil into biofuel. Here's a report.
10th August is celebrated as World Biofuel Day. On this occasion, Indian Institute of Petroleum at Dehradun has unveiled plans to generate biodiesel at room temperature through its patented process. The Biodiesel in Every Village initiative converts cooking oil into biofuel. Reusing cooking oil generates toxins which can lead to severe health risks, including cancer. This waste to wealth project is extremely simple and energy efficient, while no heating is required.
जब से 10 अगस्त को वर्ल्ड बायोफ्यूल डे तय हुआ, तब से हमारी संस्थान काफ़ी महत्वपूर्ण योगदान करती आई है। इसमें जैसे हम लोगों ने जैव ईंधन से विमान उड़ाए हैं, बायोडीज़ल गांव-गांव में ले जाने की परिकल्पना कर रहे हैं। आप सबको हम प्रोत्साहित करेंगे कि आप कृपया सामान को कचरे में न फेंकें, जैव ईंधन की ओर उसका योगदान करें।
The scheme would include two variants of the unit, one which can be truck mounted and has the capacity of 50 litres and one 5-litre unit which can even mount on a bicycle. This would ensure that it reaches the farthest corners of the nation. The ease of use would ensure that a farmer can readily use it for gensets or for blending in diesel.
We have also developed a small 5-litre unit which can be used in rural areas. As you can see, after 4 to 5 hours of reaction, two layers get separated. Upper layer is the biodiesel layer and lower layer is glycerol layer. The upper layer can be used directly into the gensets and the other agricultural machineries with up to 20% blending into the diesel. And this glycerol layer can be used in pharmaceutical industry and soap making industry. This is a hand-driven unit which can be mixed like this, but it can also be mounted on a bicycle.
India generates about 22 million tons of used cooking oil every year. Only about 1.2 million tons of this is converted to biofuel. This grassroots approach to reach the bottom of the pyramid can increase our energy security and help us fight climate change. IIP Dehradun has plans to implement this process in Raipur, Bundelkhand, NCR and Uttarakhand.
अभी हमारे पास लगभग 20 से 22 मिलियन टन यूज्ड कुकिंग ऑयल की खपत होती है इंडिया में, और उसमें से हम खाली 2 से 3 मिलियन टन यूसीओ भी कलेक्ट कर पाएँ और उसे बायोडीजल में कन्वर्ट कर पाएँ. वी कैन से लॉट ऑफ बाय मार्च 2021 वी आर गोइंग टू इंस्टॉल दिस टाइप ऑफ यूनिट अराउंड 4 to 5 places, which includes CBD Raipur in Chhattisgarh region, Bundelkhand region in UP, and in Dehradun region through our local aggregator, and one for NCR region.
With inputs from Dehradun Bureau, DD India.
The political instability in Rajasthan for over the last month seems to be coming to an end now. Former Deputy Chief Minister Sachin Pilot and his supporter MLAs expressed their satisfaction over the meeting held in New Delhi with the top leadership of the Congress. Interacting with the media in New Delhi last night, Pilot said a 3-member committee constituted by the party chief would address the issues. Earlier on in the evening, the rebel MLA of the Congress, Banwarlal Sharma, returned to Jaipur and met Chief Minister Ashok Gehlot. After the meeting, he told that the state government is safe and will complete its 5-year term. President Ramnath Kovind has congratulated M. Venkaiah Naidu on completing 3 years as the Vice President of India. In a letter, the President has said, Venkaiah Naidu, as the Vice President of India, has emerged as an inspiration for posterity to learn from his ability to transform a mix of wisdom, energy and spirited enthusiasm into creative solutions for sustained nation building. President Kovind also complimented Naidu's role as the chairman of the Rajya Sabha. In some other news now, a joint search operation was launched late last evening on specific inputs received by Jammu and Kashmir Police in Kupwara district. 3 suspects have been apprehended. An AK rifle and 2 pistols with magazines and ammunition have also been recovered from them. A joint operation is still in progress. And let's now take a look at the global updates on COVID-19 from across the world. The number of COVID-19 cases recorded worldwide has crossed over 2 crore. More than half of the world's cases have been recorded in the US and in Latin America and the Caribbean region. So far, a total of 7.38 lakh people have died from COVID-19 worldwide, and of these deaths, over 1.66 lakh have occurred in the US alone. Over 1 lakh have died in Brazil, while COVID-19 has claimed over 52,000 lives in Mexico. And the World Health Organization has warned of a huge gap in funding to help fight the COVID-19 pandemic. The WHO chief said that there was a vast global gap between the organization's ambition for a fund to tackle the virus and the funds already pledged to fight it. The WHO chief said that the funding needed for vaccines alone was over 100 billion US dollars, while the aid that the WHO was only providing 10% of the way. The WHO also warned that COVID-19 has shown no seasonal pattern, and if health authorities take the pressure of fighting it, COVID-19 will bounce back. And the World Health Organization has also said that it will be sending protective equipment and other medical and humanitarian support to Beirut in the aftermath of the blast that devastated the Lebanese capital. The WHO chief said the organization will also aid in battling the COVID-19 outbreak in the country and provide psychosocial support and assistance in rebuilding the health facilities. As the number of COVID-19 cases continues to rise at an alarming rate across the globe, the first COVID-19 vaccine will get the registration this week. Russian COVID-19 vaccine candidate being jointly developed by the Gamaleya Research Institute along with the Russia's Defense Ministry is placed to get registered on the 12th of August. This would be the primary vaccine candidate against the novel coronavirus to become registered. And with this, Russia will become the first country in the world to register a vaccine to battle the novel coronavirus. However, the WHO has warned the Russian governments to follow established guidelines for generating safe and effective vaccines. Despite a study that found that nearly 1 lakh children were infected with COVID-19 in the final 2 weeks of July, US President Donald Trump has reiterated that children are essentially immune to the virus and that schools should reopen for in-person instruction in the fall. He said the reopening of schools was crucial for the health of the American economy. However, many public health experts have disagreed with Trump's assertion that children do not get very sick. Meanwhile, California governor has said the state cannot afford to enact an executive order signed by President Trump, partly restoring enhanced unemployment payments to people who lost their jobs during the pandemic. Washington wants California and other states to use some of their pandemic relief funds, but also said that more than 3/4 of that money has already been obligated and distributed. He said there is no money in the piggy bank from that fund. Now, Spain has overtaken the UK with over 3.7 lakh COVID-19 cases and become the Western European country with the highest number of COVID-19 cases. A number of the new outbreaks have been tied to nightlife. Also, people are not taking social distancing and the need to wear face masks seriously. According to the latest data, the only European country which has a higher number of cases is Russia with over 8.92 lakh cases. The UK currently has over 3.11 lakh cases of COVID-19. In terms of the number of deaths, the UK is still the top European country with 46,526 deaths, followed by Italy, France and Spain. Brazil has surpassed the grim milestone of 1 lakh deaths from COVID-19. The death toll in the South American nation continues to climb as most Brazilian cities reopen shops and dining even though the pandemic has yet to peak. Fatalities have been ticking upwards for 5 straight weeks as the virus spread into new regions, with the daily deaths averaging more than 1,000. The total number of cases in the country has surged past 30.5 lakh. And in Germany, the new school year has begun with hand hygiene to protect against COVID-19. According to latest guidelines, students are required to wear face masks inside the buildings, but not in the classroom or in the schoolyards. Face masks must be worn in hallways and common rooms, and parents are asked to keep off the school grounds. However, the German Teachers Association has called for COVID-19 masks to be made compulsory in the classroom as well. So far, only Germany's most popular state, North Rhine-Westphalia, requires students and teachers to wear masks during lessons, though some others are considering such a move. On to more updates now from around the world. In Lebanon, the Prime Minister Hassan Diab has announced his government's resignation amid outrage over the Beirut port explosion. Diab made the announcement following a cabinet meeting on Monday afternoon and claimed the disaster as a result of chronic corruption in politics and administration. Resignation was followed after protesters blamed the government for chronic mismanagement and demanded public political reforms. Meanwhile, the president has accepted Diab's resignation and asked the government to stay on in a caretaker capacity until a new cabinet was formed. Tensions have been boiling over in the country following a massive blast on the 4th of August, which killed more than 160 people and devastated large parts of the city. And Beirut port witnessed debris littered from blast site even after 6 days of the explosion. The massive blast not only destroyed thousands of homes but also some of the capital's most cherished heritage buildings. Meanwhile, nations have united to support Lebanon in all ways. International leaders at a virtual summit pledged $298 million in aid to help Lebanon. Among the attendees were officials from over 30 international bodies and nations, including the US, European Union, UK and France. While a team of specialists from Germany's Federal Agency for Technical Relief will visit the most affected areas to assess the structural safety of the damaged buildings. Brazil has also lent support by sending its first humanitarian assistance package, which was sent by Brazil, that included 5.5 tons of medicine, supplies and medical hospital equipment and food. And with that, it's a wrap on this edition of the news. Thanks for being with us. Northwest neighborhood is very likely to move northwestwards and merge with the monsoon trough during the next 24 hours. The monsoon trough is in its near normal position with the above low pressure area embedded in it. Also, an east-west shear zone passes across central India in the mid-tropospheric levels, tilting southwards with height. A fresh low pressure area is also likely to form over the northwest Bay of Bengal and neighborhood around the 13th. So fairly widespread to widespread rainfall with heavy to very heavy rainfall at the isolated places very likely over major parts of northwest India. That's the western Himalayan region, Punjab, Haryana, Chandigarh and Delhi, Uttar Pradesh and East Rajasthan during 11th and the 12th of August. A look now at the temperature in your part of the country. Let's begin first with the Gilgit 34, Muzaffarabad 35, Leh 32, Mirpur 36, Srinagar 32, Jammu again 32, Amritsar 33, Shimla 26, Jalandhar and Chandigarh 33, Hisar Haryana 33, Dehradun 31, National Capital witnessing 34, Lucknow again 34, Prayagraj Uttar Pradesh, Varanasi 35, 34. Moving on now to the eastern parts of the country, the northeast, Guwahati, Shillong, there Itanagar at 30, Jorhat, Assam 32, Kohima 25, Imphal 29, Aizawl and Agartala 36 and 35. And taking a look now at the southern parts of the country now, Vijayawada 33, Hyderabad 30, Chennai 34, Puducherry 33. Thiruvananthapuram and Kochi 31-30, Kavaratti 30 again. There you have the western parts of the country, Surat, Indore, Bhuj, Ahmedabad 31. Central parts now, Bhopal 30, Jaipur 34 and Jaisalmer 37.